Coach, what's up, guys? This is Ryan Maddog's Maddog's Coach's Kennel back at you with another video. Today we're going to talk about something. Some of the videos that we put out there are really encouraging you guys to expand your network by talking to college coaches, right? Okay, so it's easy for me to say as a former college coach, oh, you need to talk to college coaches. But when I was in your shoes or some of your shoes, I'm probably thinking, wow, that's actually pretty scary, coach. Like, what in the hell would I say? Okay, so one thing that you can think about, here's a good idea for you, something to ask for from them, how they can help you, is college coaches are on the road recruiting all the time, right? COVID's a little bit different, but those guys and women are still out there as much as possible. And when you go to these tournaments during the summertime, you get what's called a college coaches packet. So for me, I have, this is one from, I think it was 2015 or 2016 from the Under Armour circuit in Louisville, Kentucky. A lot of national circuit teams were there. But here's another one. It's from Hoop Scene, Atlanta Jam. And this is from 2016 as well. Had more teams that were sort of our level, right? Like the circuit teams, for a low to mid major, you're not going to get a lot of the Zion Williamson type kids to come to you. So anyway, my point is college coaches have a bevy of old college packets that they'll refer to the ones from, a year ago, maybe two, but some of the older ones, they're just sitting around the office. And I'm going to encourage you to ask these coaches to have an older one. Now, why, right? So let's go to the board. The reason why, there are a couple reasons. First of all, it's an element of surprise. I realize we've got some light that's shining right on my board there. Definitely a pro at this already, right? So, wow. I mean, that is just right in the center. Hopefully you can see it. Anyway, it's going to be an element of surprise. I'm just going to hold it up here. Give you an element of surprise. And what I mean by that is these coaches, they're not going to expect for you to know what's going on. They're not going to expect for you to know that these packets even exist, right? And the formatting in these packets is important for you to understand when you get involved in AAU coaching, if you get involved, to have the roster numbers and the address of the players, of the student athletes, absolutely correct. You'd be amazed at how much wrong information or missing information are in these packets, right? The other thing, the most important thing for your sake that you're going to get from these packets is AAU coach information. So let's go back to the Hoop Scene, right, from 2016. This, let's say a coach gives you one from 2019, okay? So the seniors in that would be the class of 2019. You're also going to have class of 2020, 2021, so kids that are still in school, 2022. And what you can do, they're color-coded most of the time, so seniors would be white, juniors, sophomores, etc. What you can do is cross-check different programs to see which programs are actually, putting out the most college players. So this can be a process of elimination for you to decide what AAU program do I want to try to get involved in, right? So this was held in Atlanta, but a lot of the teams are from the Southeast that went to this tournament, whether Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina. But let's say, you have a mentor who's at a college who's, pretty close to you, proximity-wise. This is going to help you get involved and really delineate which AAU programs are quality, and then which of these guys, all you got to do is just Google the players from a class that's graduated. If 0 out of those 15 guys, if you can't find any of those guys on college rosters, and that goes back in that program for a couple teams, they haven't produced any college players, may not be a program that you want to get involved in. But moreover, you're going to have the phone numbers of so many AAU coaches at your disposal at that point. And that's how you expand your network. Those are people, there's less pressure on you at that point, right? To just pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I have an old college coaches packet. I'm not, going to share it with anybody, but found your number in there, found that, you had 2 guys from that team who ended up playing college basketball. And I'd like to pick your brain a little bit about your journey in AAU basketball and college recruiting. And if you would be willing to give me just a little bit of your time to help in my journey in trying to get involved in college basketball. May not have success with everybody that you ask, but I guarantee some of those people would be really flattered and impressed that you would reach out, because some of these guys, they may coach a team from, when the kids are in 7th or 8th grade, and they go all the way through senior year, but then once those kids graduate, they may not be actively coaching right now. So they're going to have more time to share with you. And that's what we talk about. That's going to help you expand your network. And where that really pays off, not just, learning about AAU, maybe how to get involved in AAU, but it shows these other college coaches who you're going to want to talk to that what's going on, right? All of a sudden, let's say this is from Georgia, just opening it up. I'm not going to show you, it has people's names and phone numbers, addresses. I'm not going to show you guys that. I'm not trying to dox anybody here. But, for instance, here's an 11th grade team from Wellington, Florida, right? Well, guess what? The first point guard whose name that I see was Trent Frazier. Trent Frazier is the starting point guard at the University of Illinois right now, right? So I would be saying, wow, I probably want to call that head coach. It's got his number in here. Call him and see, hey, have you had any other players? Do you have experience coaching college basketball? Because that guy certainly has experience talking to college coaches. If he had a player that was as quality as Trent Frazier on his team, that's the first team that I opened it up to. You see what I'm saying? Another one, Charlotte Aces Gold, okay? You've got kids here. Here's another kid that we recruited at the Citadel, didn't get him. He ended up at Appalachian State University, Division I player. A number of other guys. It just takes a little bit of research and thinking outside the box with stuff like that. I would say 8 out of 10 times these coaches that you call, they're still going to be involved in some level of basketball, probably AAU. And if it's close enough to your home, so that's Charlotte. You're talking about Wellington, Florida, up the eastern seaboard. Now that's in Charlotte. That's a major area. And you just go through. Here's Dawsonville, Georgia. Obviously, you've got the Atlanta teams. Mississippi Elite, right? Like, they're covering a lot of territory here, fellas. There's going to be a little bit of something for everybody. If you're willing to think and act outside the box, pick up the phone and call people. But it starts with having the courage to ask one of your mentors, current college coaches, if they'd be willing to share it. Now, important things are, Coach, I promise if you allow me to have this old book, I will not share any of the information in there with any other coaches. I won't even tell anybody that I have it, kind of deal. You certainly will not use any of the phone numbers of the former players, that kind of thing. It's a way for you to build up trust as well. These things are really well put together. Another thing that you could do, an idea, is to call the tournament directors, right? This one was put out by Hoop Scene. Great company. They're going to, if you look hard enough, you're going to find contact information from, the Hoop Scene staff. I want to say that a guy named Justin Young used to work for Hoop Scene when I was involved with Under Armour. That's a little bit higher level. But, my point is you get in touch with some of these tournament directors, and maybe they'd be willing to share some of their older books with you. If anything, that's going to help you, learn the formatting of how these things work so that when you get involved in AAU coaching, that's not going to be a problem for you, right? I can tell you, we used to feast on watching teams and seeing a kid that was really good, and somehow his jersey number's effed up. It's not in the book. He's wearing the wrong number, and we would have to kind of go behind the scenes and figure out exactly who this kid was. We loved that. We loved it when they messed it up because it helped us find a player other coaches may not be willing to do the legwork to figure out who they are. So those are just some of there's so many little tricks of the trade that you have to learn. And it just starts by asking. Loving doing these videos. The offer still stands with the previous videos. My first one to get 10 likes, 5 new subscribers, and 5 comments. One of the commenters is going to get $25 from me to help in your coaching search. Maybe to get business cards, maybe for you to ask one of your coaching mentors, say, hey, I'd love to take you out to lunch, whatever. I don't care what you spend it on. I'm here to help. I'm doing this for you guys because this is the exact kind of thing that really could have benefited me when I was searching for a job. So now that I've been there, done that, I do have some experience, and I want to be able to share that knowledge with you. So email address is in the description here. Feel free to hit me up, and I'll be in touch soon. Hope everybody's doing well.